What's up, everybody? Gonna be starting here in just 1 minute. Let me get some things set up here. Alright, welcome to the Zelda celebration, which is something I just kind of wanted to do today because the Legend of Zelda franchise is always going to be the same age as myself, so I have this weird, bonding with it as I've grown up. So it means a lot to me. Man, I'm doing a lot of things here during the stream. First off, going to be giving away 4 free game codes. Actually, 3 games total, but one I have 2 codes for. All you have to do, I'm not going to make you go through any hoops and like do surveys and all that junk. Hey, thanks for the happy birthdays, guys. Appreciate that. So what you have to do to enter is really you have to answer my trivia questions that are going to periodically come up over the next 3 hours. I have 4 questions for the 4 games, and if you win, I will need your Twitter handle. And you're going to go ahead and follow me on Twitter, and then I'll message you with the code. That's really all there is to it. Be the first to answer the trivia, and follow me on Twitter there. So the first game... Actually, let me start at the last game. The last game I'm going to give away, the game CHASM, which is a Metroidvania. This is on Xbox One. Yeah, this is an Xbox One code. So only try to get it if you know you can actually play these titles. Next, a game called Behind the Screen, which I haven't gotten a chance to play, but it's got very positive reviews on Steam. I'm probably going to try it later tonight. Looks like a weird hodgepodge kind of game. You really have to see it in motion. So I have 2 copies of that, and lastly, Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption. So those are the games I'm going to be giving away here. And as far as what I'm going to be doing in-game, we're going to be doing a grand tour of Hyrule on the Master Cycle 0. So, we're going to be starting here in the corner of the map, and we're going to be going all the way around and just kind of touring the map, reminiscing. And the third thing I'm going to be doing, I have a stack of Zelda games here behind me. You can only see one at a time, but I'm going to be grabbing one from the pile randomly. They're not in any order, and I'm just going to talk about my history with it, or my thoughts on the specific game. Here I just have Breath of the Wild here first, since that's what we're playing here today. So yeah, let's kick this grand tour off. So over here, what's this called? Eventide Island. That's where you get stranded there without any of your abilities. That was one of the more memorable locations in the game. Definitely a cool part there. So yeah, we're just going to be traveling and talking. Let's go ahead and talk about Breath of the Wild first. This is probably one of my favorite modern games. Definitely in the top 5 somewhere within the last 10 years. Hey, thanks guys for the birthday wishes. Happy freaking B-Day. Thanks. So yeah, Breath of the Wild, definitely one of my favorites. Not a perfect game, but it's a 10 out of 10 in my brain. Just because I love the exploration of it. I love the freedom you have. It's just awesome open world game. I love how it trusts you to use your own eyeballs to explore. I like this. I've done everything in this game pretty much. And somehow I missed that. I know. So we're going to try not to get too sidetracked on this journey, because we're mostly touring. I forgot those were a thing. And we will have to stop from time to time and fuel up my cycle here, because it does take fuel. But yeah, I would say the only flaws of this game is the degradation of your weapons is kind of hit and miss. I didn't have as much problems with it as some other people, but I don't think it's also, the best implementation of that. Maybe they should have had like maybe 2 or 3 weapon slots and had them have like a sharpness meter where you had to either go back to a camp or a bonfire or have some kind of item to sharpen them and get the durability back, kind of similar to how the Master Sword functions in this when you have it powered up. Where you'll use it up, but it can come back over time. What do you do in this game? Is it shrines only, kind of boring? If so, any story? The best way to put it, yes. Are the divine beasts, which are kind of the dungeon equivalents in this game. But the thing about Breath of the Wild is this entire map is so well made, and there's so many just moment-to-moment puzzles. I would equate the map itself as the most epic giant Zelda dungeon. So that allows me to be more okay with the shrines and the divine beasts, because I think the world itself in this one is the dungeon. The story is told through some flashbacks. I wouldn't say it's the best flashback. Let's save this guy. But yeah, there is a light story going on. Hey, thanks for the happy birthdays there, everybody. What's my favorite video I ever made? One I just made a month ago. The Challenge of Challenge, Souls-likes and balancing difficulty is my favorite video I've ever made. I got some good people to help contribute to that you may know, like Easy Allies, Gaijin Hunter, Snowman Gaming, Eric's Gaming, Terramantis, and Myra Slokov. That's definitely my favorite video that I'm most proud of. You can go find that on my channel. It should be on the top in the Boomstick Gaming's Best, which is in the top of my channel page. There really should have been a maintaining feature in this game. Do you mean like for the weapons? Like kind of what I was talking about? Because yeah, I think that would work better than how you just lose them. So cool little pirate island structure over here. So if you're just tuning in, we're going to be doing a grand tour of the map. We're going to start here, go all the way around to the left, and just talk about some Zelda. I'm going to be swapping out the game here in the back. I have a stack of every Zelda game, and I'm going to be talking about them. I just realized I'm not supposed to be this big on screen. There we go. And also I'm going to be doing some giveaways. This is going to be about a 3-hour stream, and there's 4 games to give away. So, you know, roughly every 30 to 45 minutes, there should be a giveaway. Yeah, I didn't hate the weapon degradation as much as others, but I also didn't think it was as fully functioning as it should have been. Hey, thanks for just stopping by and saying happy birthday. Thank you. Appreciate that. Myself and the Zelda franchise are always the same age. Second favorite Nintendo franchise? That's a close one between Super Smash Brothers and just Mario, with a close fourth being Metroid. So I actually haven't played around with this motorcycle much. Like, by the time I got it, I really didn't have anything else to do in the game, so I only drove around in it for like 5 minutes. So we're just gonna play around with it, get some use out of it. So yeah, I'm the same age as the Zelda franchise. I won't make you do the math because it's easily Googleable, but 32 today. Man, I want to like... I'm a mediocre fan of Xenoblade. I haven't loved a single one of the games as much as I feel I should. I'm playing through the Xenoblade 2 expansion right now, and I would say that's far better than the base. Oh, we just flew right off. I think that's... the expansion's much better than the base game was. Don't be looking at chat when you're crossing a bridge. Pokemon, yeah, I used to be a fan just of the first game, and since then I haven't really followed that. Dude, stop shooting me. I haven't played in a while. I forget how to play. I really think more games should utilize this kind of climbing system rather than the oh, except for when that happens, right when I say that. Because I do prefer this over the last 10 years of the Assassin's Creed just hopping around to the little magic jumping points. I like this better because you actually have to maintain your stamina, but also allows you to kind of go up anything naturally instead of predefined points. Alright, back on track. Oh, the frame rate is tanking right now, we gotta get out of here. Sorry, squirrel. Any interest in Darksiders 3? Yes, that's probably my next most anticipated game. More excited for Smash Brothers Ultimate, but yeah, Darksiders is first before that. I love Darksiders. There's like zero hype for that game. I'm not hearing anything about it. Kind of concerned if it might get last second delayed. We should be seeing all kinds of preview coverage right now for it. It's just what, like 3 weeks away, 2 weeks? Hey, thanks. Happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you. What did I say my favorite Zelda game was again? Ocarina of Time. Probably second would be Breath of the Wild. Third, probably Wind Waker. Maybe Link's Awakening. One of those two. Yeah, hopefully we get a Darksiders 4. Who am I going to play in Smash out of the first 8 options? Probably just Mario. I really like Mario in Smash 4. He's just so satisfying to play. He's not the deepest character, but man, is he satisfying to... He's got that dunk move, just all of his moves feel good. His back air feels good. I could do without the FLUDD. Biggest flaw is the FLUDD. Actually, I'm hoping Dr. Mario is good in Smash Ultimate. Because I'd prefer having something other than the FLUDD. And I remember the frame rate's having a hard time. I don't know if it's the rain. I don't remember the frame rate being this bad. It's just like this area it doesn't like. Am I getting the collector's edition of Darksiders 3? No. I submitted for a review copy of the game. I haven't heard anything back, so I'm not sure if I'll get it early. I'm thinking maybe not. So I'll just be picking up the regular copy. How he's gonna play. Starting to run low on fuel. Yeah, I didn't think of that. It probably is just the speed of the motorcycle in the game trying to catch up. Good call. Like I said, I haven't used the motorcycle more than like 5 minutes. I've already doubled my amount of motorcycle time during the stream. So I'm not real familiar with it. So yeah, this takes fuel. Now, I'm not sure what the best thing for fuel is. I just throw whatever junk in there. There's probably an optimal thing to use. I'm just going to use something I don't think I need. Hold some of those. See if that gives us a full tank. Nope. Let's try these. Have I ever thought about making a list of best or my favorite 25 games? Yeah, I've thought about doing something like that. I have a personal list that I kept about 3 or 4 years ago where I made like a top 100 games, but just for myself, just to, you know, make sure I remember some. That would be actually, you can go watch when I hit 10,000 subscribers earlier in the year, like right at the start of the year. There's a video of me playing through like what I consider probably in the 5 of my favorite games. Was it 4 or 5? You can look at my channel. It's the 10,000 subscriber special. But yeah, there you can get a sample of 5 games I really like. This thing's pretty fun. Can you do like tricks on this? Oh geez. He just jumped off. I think there is a way to get Phantasy Star online too on PC, because it's in Japanese, but there's some kind of crack you can get, I think. I haven't tried it myself. It'll patch in English, I believe, but it's kind of weird. Like, just to make an account, you have to like put in a Japanese address and stuff. We might not be able to drive to this next part. We may have to climb. The goal is to motorcycle as much as we can. Yeah, we'll just jump up here. Can't go any farther. You're here just for the 4 free codes. You could technically win all 4, but you're gonna have to answer my Zelda trivia. I'll probably do one here in the next 15 minutes or so. Probably eat something before we die. Hey, Scream of Shadow, what's up? Perfect timing. Hey, thanks, Be Righteous. Appreciate it. Did the bush just disappear? I didn't notice it. This game has some pretty bad pop-in, so I bet it did. How old am I? I'm the same age as the Legend of Zelda franchise, 32. Are you gonna play Link in Smash Ultimate? Yeah, he looks pretty awesome in Smash Ultimate. He used to be my favorite in Smash Brothers Melee. Until I found out about the competitive scene and that he's not that good. But I was good with him, in my heart. So another thing we're going to be doing on this, I have a stack of every Zelda game behind me. And I'm just going to, I have a random order. We're going to go one by one. So next up we have... This is pretty much 4 swords. Because I have the real version of Link's Awakening. Or no, Link to the Past, sorry. But this is 4 swords here. You probably can't, that's too small to probably see back there. So 4 swords on the Game Boy. That's one of the few ones I haven't beaten. It's hard to find people with Game Boy Advances and copy of that game and the link cable and everything you need. So that's one of the games I probably have the least experience to talk on. I have played a lot of 4 Swords Adventure, but that version of 4 Swords is different than that. That's the first game. Should we take this guy out? Can we hit that shot? Not a bullseye. So yeah, have you guys played the original 4 Swords very much? Because I have not, so I can't speak on that one too much. Hey, thanks, Yarrow. Yeah, how's it feel, Omar? Welcome to the club. Oh, Skies of Arcadia. Yeah, both Skies of Arcadia and Eternal Darkness I loved back in the day. Skies of Arcadia hasn't aged perfectly, but it's still, you know, plenty fun. Eternal Darkness I think has aged quite poorly, actually, when I went back to it. Like, oh, I don't remember this magic system. It's awkward in that. The controls and the spell rune system is really awkward to go back to nowadays. Oh no. We can't use our cycle here. So we may have to skip the desert on our grand tour, because we can't use the motorcycle. Hey, thanks, Reyes. Appreciate it. Do I have the GameCube Zelda Collector's Edition? I don't think I brought that over, but I think I have it. I think. You talking about this? Because if so, then yes, I do. I did not bring that one over. It's just a collection. You get the original Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, all on one disc there. And it comes with the demo for Wind Waker. Is that the collector's edition you were talking about? Which console do you like the most at the moment? This year probably PlayStation 4. Probably last year Switch. If we're talking consoles, majority of the time I prefer my PC. I just like good games though, and I'll play on whatever. I definitely prefer good frame rates though, because I'm a gameplay guy and frame rate is directly linked to good gameplay a lot of the times. Favorite JRPG that didn't get enough love? I would say probably my favorite modern JRPG is Persona 5, but I think that got the correct amount of attention. So I'm trying to think of one that didn't get enough attention. I also like Final Fantasy 15, but again, plenty of attention on that one. Octopath Traveler is also good. I can't think of any recent examples of a kind of hidden gem JRPG I've really liked. Tales of Grace's F. I think that's probably the best Tales game. Maybe that or Tales of Symphonia, but that gets some nostalgia points for me, so it's hard to compare the two. Oh yeah, you're right, I could get one of those sand seals, but I wanted to keep this to motorcycle only as much as I could. We can see the desert from up here. We're not going to hit every location, we're just going to do our best. We're going to go around the map here, counterclockwise. Shadow Hearts, yeah, I heard that has a really cool combat system, but I have not played that. Final Fantasy Tactics, man, I wish they would make a new one. Like a traditional Final Fantasy Tactics 2. I did like the ones on Game Boy Advance back in the day. I actually like the first Game Boy Advance game more than the PlayStation version, which is not a popular opinion. Have you played AC Origins? I played about half of AC Origins. I think Odyssey is a vastly better game, and I'm still playing through that right now. That is a giant game. Mass Effect Andromeda. I only put about 10 hours into that and I got kind of burnt out on it. But that was right when it launched. I know they've patched it up, but I think it's like a little too late and I'm kind of over it. I liked Mass Effect 2 and 3 at the time, and I'm just whatever on it. Lost interest, I guess. Don't hate it, lost interest. I'll wait for the reboot in whatever 8 to 10 years. What is that guy doing up there? He's hiding. Hiding to ambush you. Yeah, I'd like to find time to give Andromeda another try. I don't see any time in the future though where I'll have time for that kind of game right now. That's a lot of emojis. I hope you strategically picked all those out, because if so, then I'm impressed. If you just mashed on them, not so much. Hey, thanks, Lendro. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and do that. The first giveaway here we'll do in just a few minutes here. And it is going to be time-based, so whoever answers it correctly first is going to win it. And all you have to really do is, like I said, answer it first and follow me on Twitter. And that's primarily just so I can give you your code. I'll follow you back and I'll message you the code. That's the best way I could figure out on how to deliver these to people. I wish YouTube had some kind of a message system like it used to have, but they seem to have gotten rid of that. We gotta get out of these mountain areas. It's making it hard to cycle and look at chat. Most overrated game in your opinion? I'm not gonna say of all time, but within the last 5 years, I think, although good to great games, I think Undertale and Red Dead Redemption 2 are a bit overrated. They're definitely not the perfect masterpieces that many of the media would make you think. They're good. They're not perfect 10s across the board. Let me just catch up here on what you guys are saying. Too bad Zelda games didn't get on PC. Yeah, that'll probably never happen. Are you hyped for a game right now? Yeah, super hyped. Darksiders 3, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. That's definitely my top 3 most anticipated right now. I'm most excited for in 2019, that would be Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Watching you live from my Switch. Did the Switch just get YouTube or something? Did I miss that? Do we have breaking news, or did I just miss that? Yeah, Red Dead 2 I would consider it has some gameplay issues and some pacing issues. Definitely great, not perfect. I would never give a game that has mediocre core gameplay a 10, never. Like in 1 minute of playing that game, I'm like, well, not a 10. Let's go down from there as I continue to formulate my opinion. Yeah, Joe, Darksiders is pretty awesome. Really excited about 3. I'm concerned why we're not hearing much about it, though. Breath of the Wild is a unique situation where, critically, no, I would not give Breath of the Wild a 10, although in my heart and my personal biased, opinionated enjoyment of the game, it's a 10 in my brain, kind of like Bloodborne itself. Both 10s in my brain, not critically. Because that's how you do a correct review. It's equal parts informed opinion based on your experience on gaming and personal opinion. Lean too much in one way and you're coming across too opinionated, and you have things like, oh, maybe you weren't in the right mood, maybe you just came off a bunch of open world games, maybe you felt like there was too much water. But that's when too much opinion comes into a review. But you also don't want to come across as like being just like explaining the game like a robot. Like I said, it's a perfect mix between informed opinion and personal bias. Too much in either way is bad. Let's go up here. I wouldn't say Fortnite's overrated. I think it's Fortnite's definitely a quality video game, and the whole building shooter aspect is more unique than I think a lot of people stop and think about. Maybe it's overrated in terms of why a game like that would reach this massive amount. There's really no quantifying that. So maybe a little overrated, but not due to a lack of quality, just unpredictable. Kind of like Pokemon Go when that happens. Like, nobody could have predicted that nonsense. You just never know what the mainstream's going to latch onto. It's very unpredictable. I would hate to be in, like, mass marketing. Of course, I do kind of try to do that same thing here on YouTube. I try to predict what you're all going to want to watch and what would be most beneficial to inform you on about a game. Well, I guess it's kind of like marketing here. Let's fuel up. Oh yeah, I said I was going to do that giveaway. Before we fuel up, let me put these in my hands before I forget to do this. Alright, first giveaway. Now the first game... Man, guys, I keep forgetting to turn off my large camera. It's not supposed to be that big. When I'm actually playing the game, try to yell at me to turn this off. This is only when I'm like talking about something. So the first game is Behind the Screen, which I talked about it earlier. It's kind of an unassuming... You have to see it in action. It has very positive reviews on Steam, and it's a quirky little weird game. But I have 2 codes of this, and we're going to be giving out 1 here, and it's going to be a race to whoever can answer my trivia here. I have 4 trivia questions, and we're going to be asking 1 right here. So if you're all ready, it's going to be the first person to type the right answer, and also you'll have to follow me on Twitter so I can get you that code. So if you do win, if you're the winner, go ahead and put your Twitter handle in the chat here, and I'll screenshot that just for my records. All right, let me get a drink. Well, I don't know if Danger G is in chat. He's one of my moderators who got me this cup. I don't know if you can see that. It says Deadite, which is my gamer handle. All right. First Zelda question. At the very start of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, in order to gain passage to the Great Deku Tree, you need a sword and shield. How many rupees does the shield cost in the local shop in Kakariko Forest? First person to answer that. Again, how much does the shield cost in the first shop in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, so you can go meet the Great Deku Tree? Alright, Tegan Hatch. 40 is the correct answer. Go ahead and post your Twitter handle here. Congrats, you got Behind the Screen on PC. I'll be contacting you later tonight after the stream with that. So yeah, that's how the next 3 giveaways are going to function as well, just like that. Yeah, sorry if you don't know much about Zelda, but this is a Zelda-themed stream because that's just what I wanted to do today, because it's one of my favorites. Okay, thanks, Tegan. I saved that, and I'm going to be getting with you later. The next giveaway we'll probably do in another 30 to 40 minutes. I'm going to take a quick 1-minute break here, now that we got the cycle all fueled up. And I'll probably switch games back here and talk about the next Zelda game. Be right back. Alright, and we're back. So like I said, we're going to do another giveaway in about 30 to 40 minutes. The next game is going to be Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption. It's a boss rush little Souls-like game. And this is on PC on Discord. It's actually through the Discord store is what the code's for. So that'll be coming up here later. And we're going to do the next Zelda game. Actually, the next one that came up is the Wind Waker, and I have here Wind Waker HD because I feel like it's the superior version to the original. They really fixed a lot of things with it. So yeah, Wind Waker. Some people don't like the... Oh, danger's in the chat. Alright. A lot of people don't like the amount of travel there is in it. I'm kind of fine with it because there's plenty of like moment-to-moment stuff to explore with those little islands and stuff. Yeah, Wind Waker is definitely probably in my top 5. I think maybe 4th or 3rd all-time favorite. Also, I think the Wind Waker HD is one of the most unassumingly good-looking games out there. That style, I like what they did with the lighting when they did the HD version. I think it looks really nice. And I would really like to get rid of my Wii U at this point, but currently Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, and Mario Maker are trapped on that system, so for the time being, until those hopefully come out on Switch, I have to keep the old Wii U around. But those are really the only lingering reasons why I need a Wii U. Alright, Yarrow, thanks for stopping by. Mail you my Wii U. I forgot you didn't have a Wii U, Danger. And you haven't played that yet. It's definitely one of the best. I'm sure it's going to get announced for Switch here probably next year. They're probably going to have maybe a pack with Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess. Because they have to fill in the gaps. It might be, yeah, it'll probably be next year. They did announce that they're hiring up for a new Zelda project, so we're probably not going to see that for another about 3 or 4 years. It could be 3 years because they're probably using the same engine as this. They have a pretty good engine here. So we could see one as soon as 3 years from now. But yeah, to fill in the gaps, they're definitely going to have to put out the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD on Switch. For sure. Hey, thanks for the birthday wishes. Appreciate that. So yeah, the Wind Waker... I really like the combat in that game. I don't hear a whole lot of people talk about the combat. It has that kind of perfect dodge system where you roll around and critical strike them in the back. And it has that nice like sound effect that plays out to it. I think Wind Waker might have the best combat, actually, now that I think about it. Out of everything. Combat in this is pretty good, except for I don't like when you hit guys. Usually like that third strike sends everybody flying. That or the fourth strike there. I don't like how often you just like send guys ragdolling around too much in this. But the combat is still pretty good in this. That's just one flaw. I wish you could turn that off. It's annoying to just hit, go chase after them because they like ragdolled off, hit. You almost want to pace yourself and like not do that fourth hit, which is weird. I do hit, and like that, so you just don't do that hit where you smack them. And I don't know why they made it like that. They should have made it only critical hits send them flying like that, instead of every, you know, whatever hit on whatever weapon, the fourth hit, or I think it's different per weapon. I'm not sure if it sends big guys flying, but I could show you what I mean. Yeah, well, oh, that killed him. We're too strong. Oh, Danger, I was showing off my mug earlier. Told him you got it for me. Favorite Assassin's Creed game? Odyssey. I'm not even a fan of Assassin's Creed games. I liked Assassin's Creed 2 and Odyssey, and that's where that starts and ends. That's it. Could completely do without the others. And I have tried, I think, all of them except for whatever that notoriously bad one was. How many hours have I logged into Breath of the Wild? It's a good question. Where can you see that? Does anybody know where you can see your hours? I'm the same age as the Zelda franchise, 32. Thoughts on Animal Crossing? Definitely very excited for Animal Crossing. I loved the original on GameCube, and then the one we got on 3DS was very good. Yeah, that's one of those games where like not super gonna anticipate it, but when it's out, it's like, okay, it's out, I'm gonna... There goes my life for like a month. Unassuming, awesome game. Hey, thanks, Narwhals. Appreciate that. Check your user profile. How do you even do that? Up here? Uh, 135 hours. I pretty much did all the shrines. I didn't get all the Korok seeds, obviously, in that amount of time. Did all the shrines, did the expansion content, and yeah, I haven't played it really since then. So I did everything I wanted to do, and then kind of put it down. I really can't wait till enough time has passed where I can like play this again and try the master mode or whatever the hard mode is called. I heard it's really hard. I did try it for about 2 hours earlier in 2018, and I'm like, ooh, it's too early to play this again. I need to forget a little more. So probably in 2 years, I'll probably replay this in the harder mode, and I think a lot of the puzzles and dungeons will be more fresh after I've forgotten some of them. Favorite game ever? Probably Ocarina of Time. And somewhere up there is Bloodborne. Favorite of 2018? I think I'm going to be doing a Game of the Year video. So I don't want to spoil that. But yeah, probably in December I'll probably do a Game of the Year video. Let's switch out. Alright, next up we have the original. The original Legend of Zelda. So I didn't play the original Legend of Zelda when it first came out. I didn't play it till like actually probably a decade later. Even though I had an NES back in the day, I just didn't have Zelda, and I didn't have a whole lot of games on the NES. I can't remember ever even like being gifted or, you know, obviously buying at that age a NES game. We just kind of had whatever we had. I don't remember how we got them. It probably hand-me-downs from somebody. But yeah, it's still a classic to go back to now. It's a little hard to just go in and there's a lot of wandering around if you don't know what you're doing. And I don't love the concept of like following a guide where you're like, okay, what do I do next? And then look at a thing and go do it, and then what do I do next? But I also don't like aimlessly wandering for extended periods of time. So it's kind of right there in the middle. Definitely an awesome classic, but kind of lower on my favorites list. But that's probably because I didn't grow up with it. If I grew up with it, it'd probably be much different. We'll touch on my very first Zelda game I played. It'll come up in the pile I have here. They're in a random order. So it's whatever I pick I'm going to talk about next. It's pretty cool how they kind of set out to kind of reboot that game with Breath of the Wild. I think they actually did a pretty good job at that, with just kind of letting you loose, kind of like the first Zelda game, because they haven't really done that since then. Run out of stamina. Do I have any stamina stuff? Oh. One. I think I should play Zelda 2. Yeah, I haven't played more than probably 30 minutes of Zelda 2. I heard Death Mountain sucks, but I do need to play that one. I think there's only 2 or 3 Zelda games I haven't beaten, and that is one of them. Oh, what other Zelda games I'm playing? I'm just touring the map in Breath of the Wild and just talking about the other games. So it's just going to be, we started down in this far corner, and we worked our way down, and we're just going to go around and be, just give me a means to explore around and talk about some Zelda stuff, primarily. Obscure franchise brought back on the Switch. I would like to see them get Phantasy Star Online back, and I would say just forget the second game at this point. I think we are due a Phantasy Star Online 3 on Switch. I don't think we're ever getting Phantasy Star Online 2 over here in the West. Also, I'm assuming it hasn't probably aged as well as people maybe think. I am error. Yeah, I am aware of that weird little Easter egg in Zelda 2. I probably know more like trivia about Zelda 2 than actual experience with it. Alright, I forget what my best cold stuff was. Man, you guys didn't remind me. I'm supposed to turn off big camera mode when I'm gaming. It's all good. I'm gonna do the next game anyways. Next game we're talking about? Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. That is my first Zelda game I ever played. Definitely one of my favorites, probably third or fourth. It goes back and forth between that and Wind Waker as my third favorite. And I recently just replayed it last year. And man, it still holds up. Holds up very well. I think it holds up better than A Link to the Past. Let's not fall down there. That game is so weird. It has so many weird, like, Mario things in there. It's just a very unique game. Yeah, everybody feels bad when Link is shivering cold like a little baby. Poor guy. Sin and Punishment? Yeah, I tried the one on Wii. It was alright. I didn't love it. Wasn't bad either. Just okay. What's this guy want? He's gonna ambush us. Forget how to fight these guys. No, we don't want to use that. Palm arrows. You can tell we haven't done much combat yet in this play session. This is motorcycle day, not fighting day. Let's fuel up. Yeah, back in the day playing Link's Awakening, I played it when I was pretty young, and the game was very hard to figure out for me. But there is a... Actually, you know what? I can't explain that because it's one of the trivia questions. I almost gave away one of the trivia questions. There's a certain game mechanic I was about to talk about. We'll talk on that later. What's your take on the weapon degradation in Breath of the Wild? I talked on this earlier, actually. I didn't hate it like everybody else, but I also didn't love it. I think a better solution would be a weapon sharpness system where you could maybe have 2 or 3 weapons at all times, and they would lose durability, and then you'd either have to go back to a town or like a bonfire or have some kind of item that would restore their sharpness, similar to how the Master Sword, you don't ever lose it, it just, you can't use it for a while and it comes back. So if it adhered to a some kind of a sharpness system, I would prefer that. But yeah, I didn't hate it like everybody else hated it. It's just not a perfect system, but not terrible either. Alright, instead of going deep into the snow, we're gonna get out of here. Yeah, Monster Hunter World definitely will be in my Game of the Year video, I will say that. I'm actually going to be streaming 2 days next week. I'm going to be streaming Monster Hunter World. It's going to be like a semi-sponsored stream, so just heads up if you don't like sponsored stuff. But it's going to be me playing the PC version of Monster Hunter World, and it's going to be a starter guide slash going through every single tip I know about that game, which I've done tons of tips videos, but this is going to be kind of all-inclusive across 2 different streams, to kind of everything I know about the game and how to get started for new people. I think that's Wednesday and Thursday next week. Yeah, it's actually sponsored by, didn't mean to place that. It'll be sponsored by a combination of Capcom and one other company. If I say it, I'll give away something I'm not supposed to say yet. But yeah, Capcom and somebody else. Do I like RPGs or JRPGs better? That's a tricky one. I would say statistically, I like... that is tricky. I think regular RPGs, like Western RPGs, can either be like a near 10 to a 4. Like a 4 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. There's a big gap. But JRPGs are this nice, like, 7... JRPGs because I love tinkering with that kind of stuff. Like I love it, like in Persona 5, you're like 60 hours into that game and you're still getting tutorials. I love that kind of stuff. Where Western RPGs are a little more simplified and a little more like action focused, but they do have a greater, ceiling, I think, with their overall, quality, production values. Yeah, I think I lean towards JRPGs. They're more consistently good to great. I would say Persona 5 is the only one I would say is in the realms of like amazing. That would rival, a big budget Western RPG like a Skyrim or something over here. Yeah, maybe for the weapon dagger game. Hunter World. Either it could be a limited item that you could find pretty regularly, it could be on a recharge timer, or it could just take, 15 to 20 seconds to actually you have to stop and physically sharpen it, so it's kind of just a time thing. Where you can choose to, stop and get that weapon back right now if you want to sacrifice, just sitting here for 20 seconds. Uncharted 2, yeah, I think that's the pinnacle of the Uncharted series for sure. It's definitely a good game. Yeah, Nier Automata, yeah, definitely an awesome game. That game's aging well in my brain too. It's becoming bittersweet even though it's like only like a year and a half old. Oh yeah, Nier Automata, that was awesome. It's aging well so far, and it's short time out. Yeah, I would say my only slight issue with Nier Automata was its world structure. Its open world could use a little more love and care, and a little less, backtracking. They really utilize that small open world that they had to its fullest by you go through repeat areas many times. And yeah, that's probably the only drawback I can find in that game. But definitely an amazing game, amazing story, amazing combat. think I prefer Bayonetta 2, that combat system over Nier. And this rocky part of the map is a pain to motorcycle. We gotta do it as much as we can. Go ahead and switch games out. Guess I should have showed you. Spirit Tracks. So Spirit Tracks, I don't love the 2DS Zelda titles, gonna be honest. Spirit Tracks seems like the better of the two, but Phantom Hourglass is also one of the ones I haven't beaten because I really did not like it. I didn't like its dungeon design, I didn't like the utilizing of Zelda. But Spirit Tracks is alright. One's bad, one's just alright. I don't have much to say about Spirit Tracks. I don't really like using touch input to play a game either. What's the best game developer in your opinion? I could say best, and I could say favorite and best, where they're kind of different for me. Where I would say favorite would probably be From Software, but if you want to just say general, just best, I think the core Nintendo team, when they put their mind to something, I think they are probably the best. From Software just happens to make my favorite style of game, being like action, adventure, hard games. So we don't want to go in there. It's easier to do that than back up on that thing. Yeah, CD Projekt Red, they're very good. They could just use a little more, some more talent to their combat team. We'll see how they pull off Cyberpunk combat. But The Witcher 3 combat is easily the most mediocre part about that game. Everything else in that is amazing. Yeah, I hate it when games make me use the touchscreen as well. Bad. You've beaten Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild. Yeah, well, you played like the two best, so you played the right ones. I suggest maybe trying Wind Waker next. Is the predecessor to Demon's Souls. In first person, I believe. It's like a first person Dark Souls before Dark Souls. Favorite developer used to be Valve. Yeah, I don't even think of them anymore, sadly, as a developer. That's sad. Maybe someday we'll get Left 4 Dead 3 and Portal 3 and Half-Life 3. Maybe they'll do the Orange Box 2. I still am a firm believer that when the Orange Box came out, that was like the pinnacle of the gaming industry, and then after the Orange Box, we entered the darkest timeline. Where like that was the pinnacle of generosity in quality games, where like that might be the best deal of all time, the Orange Box. And after that, in the dark timeline, we were in this DLC, free-to-play, transaction, under-delivering, overcharging kind of era. So yeah, after the orange box we have diverged and we're now... I think we're finally coming out of the darkest timeline. It's looking a little better recently. Oh, and early access. Don't even get me started on those aspects. It doesn't necessarily mean I won't cover early access. I'm just not going to encourage you to buy it until it's done, but I can still show you it. Show you like some aspects or preview it, but I'm not going to say buy it now, wait. But we're going to have to switch clothes. Man, this is going to be another hard place to motorcycle. What's burning? Our bow? Oh, our bow. Awesome. The weird little details in this game. Because our bow was wooden, it started to catch on fire there because we're in a hot region. Yeah, I bet you Wind Waker HD is going to come to Switch, for sure. They have to fill in the gaps until they get this new Zelda game done in the next probably like 3 or 4 years that they just announced that they're hiring for. But they're probably using this same Breath of the Wild engine, so it shouldn't take them that long. Probably 3 years, and probably filling in the gaps we'll get Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. Oh, we can't even use the cycle here. We may have to cut down through this way. We'll go through Central Hyrule. Yeah, Diablo Immortal, not too into that at all. Like a day or two later, if you're a PlayStation 4 owner, they did announce Path of Exile is coming to PS4, and that's a free game, and it's a good example of a free-to-play game. You can only buy cosmetics, skins, and spell effects. You can't buy power in any way, and there's a ton of content in that game, and it's essentially Diablo 4. So yeah, you can already play that right now on Xbox One and PC, Path of Exile. But it is kind of funny how they announced that like 1 or 2 days after Diablo Immortal. Yeah, I prefer max hearts to max stamina. I don't really care too much about the stamina too much. Yeah, I've played Octopath. I've completed one of the characters' routes, and I'm on the final act with everybody else. But I do need to get back to that and finish the other characters. Definitely a good game. Man, I was really hoping I could say Dragon Quest XI was my favorite RPG of the year, but it didn't turn out that way. I think Octopath is the best RPG so far. You cannot play Path of Exile on your phone. I'm sorry. You know you actually don't want to do that. Nobody really wants to play a phone game, you just happen to be stranded somewhere where you can only play phone games. So yeah, we can't use our motorcycle here, we're just trying to get out of the hot region, get back on track. Yeah, sorry I didn't have much to say about Spirit Tracks if you love Spirit Tracks. Next up we have Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. So I kind of talked about Zelda 2 a little bit earlier. That's another one I haven't beaten. I have played a little bit of it. I heard it's hard to go back to, but it is kind of not deserving of the bad reputation. It's actually a pretty good side-scrolling action RPG back in the day. So I do need to go back and play that one. Yeah, Danger, you're not really missing out playing Spirit Tracks or the Phantom Hourglass, I don't think. They're not that great. Yeah, thanks me, I do have an Octopath video out there. It kind of just breaks down all the classes, but that came out before the game was out. Trying to help people pinpoint what they want to play. Alright, we should be able to motorcycle now. Alright, we're back on track. Out of the hot region. Hey Kostas, what's up? Hey dude, Deadpool, appreciate it, man. We'll probably do the giveaway for the next game here in about 10 minutes. That game is Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption on PC. You want me to wear the Tingle outfit? I can do that. I can be Tingle for a bit. Yeah, so Zelda 2. Sorry, I haven't played it yet, so I don't have a lot to talk about on Zelda 2. Next up, Skyward Sword. This one I actually do have quite a bit to say about. So, Skyward Sword, when it first came out, I really did not like Skyward Sword. I don't think it was the worst Zelda game, but man, I really didn't like a lot of the going back to the same areas and the overall motion controls. Now, I played it a second time, like years later, probably 5 or 6 years later. Played it with a different setup. I don't know if my sensor bar was in a better place, or how that all played out, but I had no problems the second time with the motion controls, and I actually quite liked the game. The kind of my expectations ruined it when it first came out, because it wasn't what I was hoping for, and then since I already knew what to expect, that second time I could just enjoy what it was. And I actually I would say it's a good game. It's still not great or amazing, but Skyward Sword is good. There's some really good elements to their dungeons in that. I'm not a fan of the combat, even when it works. I don't think it's great. I don't like how so many of the enemies block you so often, like almost always. Actually, on this, I didn't realize on the first playthrough, but the second playthrough, I'm like, oh, the shield bash. The shield bash is vital to that game. That's why I was just like, regular enemies were just like block, 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 and I'm like, I'm thinking I'm hitting the right direction, but no, they're still blocking me. But yeah, that shield bash, that drastically improves that game if you use that effectively. So yeah, I've switched my brain on a Skyward Sword. Notoriously did not like it when it came out. I'm actually fine with it now. One of my friends is always saying he wished he couldn't get into it either. He always keeps saying that, man, they should remake it on the Switch or something. But I keep telling him, or like, he wants it on the Switch without motion controls. I'm like, if you go back and play that game, there's no way you could ever make that game without motion controls. They're tied into literally every aspect of that game. 110% you cannot take out the motion controls from Skyward Sword, sadly. It would not be possible. The game would have to be rebuilt from the ground up, and at that point it would be a different game. But in theory, yes, that would be ideal if they could do that. But yeah, if you go back and play it, you'd be like, oh yeah, literally every single system is tied to motion. From putting keys in doors to general combat and puzzle solving to just looking around with your that dowsing ability or whatever that is with your sword. Of course, that could easily be done with an analog stick, but the other elements couldn't. Hey, thanks, Prey. Appreciate that. I wonder if we can actually do this. Anybody ever play Trials? It's harder than it looks. No, no, bike. It might have been overkill. Hey, Chackloon, thank you. Oh, we did it. Who do I think is the best game publisher? I talked earlier about developer. Publisher... If you're just going strictly publisher, that's a little different because it doesn't necessarily mean I like all their games, so probably like Blizzard. I'm not a... I mean, I love Blizzard, but World of Warcraft didn't do anything for me. Hearthstone didn't do anything for me. Warcraft or StarCraft, Warcraft. Pretty much, I just like Diablo and Overwatch. But I definitely respect the quality of all their games. Like pretty much every game they make usually gets like Game of the Year level status, except for, you know, with Diablo Immortal. That's kind of their first big flub up with the audience. They've had a pretty good reputation up until then. Devolver, yeah, they're pretty good. They're the best indie publisher, probably. Their games they choose are a little predictable. The bloody, crimey, murder indie games they tend to publish a lot. They're kind of typecast in a way with what they publish. Not everything is a murdery action game, but they tend to gravitate to those a lot. If it looks like Hotline Miami, they're in. So why Breath of the Wild on my birthday? I just wanted to do a Zelda stream because I love the Zelda series, and it's the same age as me, so it's been growing up with me my whole life. And I just love Breath of the Wild, and I wanted a excuse to kind of go around and maybe not be doing like moment-to-moment like gameplay, like puzzles and stuff, because I wanted to talk about every Zelda game and do my giveaways and interact with the chat. So I figured this would be a good idea. It's just to tour the entire map. We started way down in the bottom corner here. We went all the way around counterclockwise. We come around. There's some area we couldn't access the desert. We couldn't access this fire area with our. Actually, you know what? I gotta head over here. We gotta go look over here. This is a cool area. But yeah, we couldn't go everywhere with the motorcycle, and that's the goal of this: is a tour with the motorcycle. Alright, so we should probably do that game giveaway here before I get distracted on the next game I'm going to talk about. Let's get out of this area. Yeah, so just in probably 2-3 minutes I'm going to do that next trivia question for Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption, which is on PC, and the code is for Discord, the Discord store. So only participate, please, if you want to actually utilize the game and play it there. And also, you have to just follow me on Twitter primarily so I can follow you back and distribute your code, because that's the easiest way for me to get in touch with you. So if you do win, I encourage you to post your Twitter handle in the chat here. I'll screenshot it and then get back with you. Alright, this is going to be the trivia question for Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption. Like I just said, if you do win, go ahead and put your Twitter handle in the comments here. Follow me on Twitter, and I will get in touch with the code. So it's first to answer this correct. This is the thing I said I almost spoiled earlier in the stream. Alright, here we go. In the original version of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, a popular glitch could be used to warp past any screen tile adjacent to you, allowing you to bypass many roadblocks and locked doors. Briefly explain how this screen warping technique is achieved. First person to answer that correctly gets Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption. There's a very specific method to warping screen tiles in Link's Awakening, and anyone who's played it and done it knows exactly it by memory. It's very simple. It's more simple than you maybe think if you don't know it. really needed this method to get through the game because I was too dumb to figure it out back then. And I definitely greatly used this to full effect. To skip things and get through elements that I couldn't get through traditionally. Yeah, Danger, I'm surprised no one's got it yet. Yeah, if you want Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption, you know, figure it out. Google search it if you have to at this point. No one's got it yet. I'll give it one more minute and then I'll... So I'm thinking nobody knows. I'm surprised. Yeah, I'll repeat the question again because no one's got it. Alright, for a chance to win Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption on PC. In the original version of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, not the DX version, a popular glitch could be used to warp past any screen tile adjacent to you, allowing you to pass many roadblocks and locked doors. Briefly explain how the screen warping technique is achieved. This game was on Game Boy, regular Game Boy. This was patched out in the DX version. I love this area of the map up here. It's one of the best regions. Alright, next game I'm talking about. Here's a fun one. If you even want to count this, Link's Crossbow Training. Not really a Zelda game, but kind of. Only played about half of it. Just kind of bought it as a joke. It's a on-rails light gun game on the Wii. It's not terrible, but it's also just a light gun game. Nothing. I would say the environments are cool, like to kind of get an alternate take of Twilight Princess style environments. It's cool to maybe just play through once, but I don't know. I just kind of played half of it. I'm like, eh, it's probably more fun with a co-op partner because I think there is multiplayer in it. But I was just playing by myself. Oh, there we go. Aaron, that is correct. You would go to the edge of the screen, and right when you're about to scroll, you hit the direction appropriate to, move, be it right, and the select button at the exact same time. And you'd actually warp past a whole screen, and you could get your way through a lot of locked areas and also get yourself stuck quite a lot, quite easily. It was a game in itself to figure out where you could actually use that method and not soft lock your game. So yeah, Aaron, you got Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption. All you have to do, follow me on Twitter and post here in the chat your Twitter handle so I can follow you and get you your code. That's the best way for me to distribute something like that. So yeah, that glitch it's very easy to do, but you just have to know it. You just move very slowly to the last pixel before you scroll the screen, and then press over and select at the exact same time. You can warp an entire tile past. Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft? Are you just talking like who I think's my favorite? Yeah, it's too hard to sum it up that simply. I would say Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft. I love the Xbox 360. I'm kind of been lukewarm on the Xbox One, so yeah. Nintendo and Sony pretty even, I think, in terms of providing good games to core gamers. Alright, thanks, Aaron. Gonna screen cap that, and then I'll get in touch with you later this evening. Congrats. Yeah, that method to do that in Link's Awakening was pretty much my version of the Konami code. That's like, I'll remember that glitch till the day I die because I used it so much at such a young age to get through the game. So I will never forget how to do that. You're making me pick between Nintendo and Sony now at this point? Oh, that's a really hard one. I think if we're talking all time, I have to give it to Nintendo. Sony's been destroying it, though, in the last 4 or 5 years. Single player or multiplayer, I would say I have a 60% bias to single player, 40% multiplayer. So I almost evenly enjoy both, but I do lean a little bit towards single player. You remember the day when games had cheat codes? Yeah. Alright, so we gotta head south. I'm gonna switch out games here. I don't have much to say about Link's crossbow training. Big surprise. So we have here, I always forget to do this part. Minish Cap on Game Boy Advance. Now this was not developed by Nintendo. I believe it was developed by Capcom. Why do I not see the Capcom logo? Pretty sure it was developed by Capcom. But yeah, Minish Cap. I played it when it came out. I didn't love it. I also replayed it about 4 years ago. I'm not sure if I beat it that first time I played it, but I definitely beat it that second time, just, you know, 3 or 4 years ago. And it's okay. You can tell it's not made by Nintendo. They resort to some weird, more just traditional video gamey elements than Nintendo usually would, with the little collectibles and kind of gating weird elements in an awkward way, not like most Zelda games. It's definitely a really good 2D Zelda. There's just something about it where I don't love it. Couldn't tell you what it is. Something feels a little off in Minish Cap for me. Yeah, the art in Minish Cap, though, is really good. The overall design and graphics is great. I think just the puzzles and the logic of the game, it feels like someone trying to emulate Nintendo's quality on those aspects, and well, it was exactly that, but it feels like that too. Kind of a common problem in Souls-like games. It's like you're trying to emulate that special sauce of what made the Souls series that special for a lot of people, but it's just those minor little tweaks, you got them a little off, and it kind of makes the whole thing crumble. Feels like you're imitating, but and you're not pulling it off, rather than just doing your own take on it. Yeah, I was positive that was developed by Capcom. I don't see it anywhere on the box. That's very odd. Maybe it was part of their like agreement. They wouldn't be credited on the box. I don't know. The worst part is imagine where that hat goes to the bathroom. Well, I think if you're a magic hat, you may not adhere to normal, you know, human being traits or like animal traits where you have to use the restroom. You're already a magical being, so why would you have to use the restroom? I just don't think it has to. I mean, it's a hat. Like, just because a hat would gain consciousness, why would it then gain, you know, excrement? Sorry if I just ruined your joke there. Oh yeah, he did do... I do remember reading something like that. Cacklin. So that's Minish Cap. Up next, we have Triforce Heroes. Now, multiplayer is not an element I really wouldn't say not enjoy. I just don't seek it in Zelda games. And I don't love the game. Man, what to say about that? It just wasn't the game for me when it came out. Maybe if you were playing with a full group of 4 people, like in real life, nobody over the internet, and you kind of dedicated an evening to like get through it, I bet that would be the best way to experience that. But sadly, like, I couldn't do that. But it did have some really good uses of using your whole team to get through things, more so than most co-op games, where like the other people can help, but they're not usually like all that required. Where in that game they're 100% required to do almost everything. Every aspect cannot just be brute forced. Yes, sorry I broke the whole world building of the Minish Cap hat there. What is that? Still stuff I haven't found in this game. Dang, that's not a bad treasure there. Those are hard to get. Yeah, Bomberman's pretty cool, except for in the last decade or so. Man, that one on Switch was abysmal. I got that at launch, and man, I thought that game was very bad. Also very bad for the price. What? Hey, our first death. Man, we're high up here. But you're here right now, so what's that saying? Like, who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him? Star Wars. Alright, Jacqueline, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks, John. Appreciate that. Alright, so that's Triforce Heroes. Didn't have much to say on that one either. Now, here we have one I have much to say. Ocarina of Time. I don't know how many versions of this game I have. I think I have like 4 over there. 4 or 5. But yeah, Ocarina of Time is my favorite Zelda game, and I would mark that as the point in which I became a hardcore gamer, rather than back in the day playing just NES games and not really ever beating games. I didn't really know much of what I was actually doing. Never had a Super Nintendo, but I would mark Ocarina of Time is when I became a actual gamer. And yeah, that was probably the most memorable gaming experience of my whole life. How cool are these dragons? And I don't know if we can swim that. But yeah, Ocarina of Time is my favorite Zelda game of all time, by far. It still holds up well today, which is impressive for a 3D game from that era. The frame rate isn't amazing nowadays, but give it 30 minutes and you pretty much don't even notice it anymore. That could definitely use a touch-up. We had the 3DS version. I wish they would bring that to Switch, because that did improve the frame rate. I wouldn't say improve really much of anything. I didn't like the new style of Link, other than the frame rate. The little like cheats you could do where it would tell you hints, I didn't really care for either. But yeah, if we could get that to the Switch, that'd be awesome. Yeah, the versions of Ocarina of Time I have Nintendo 64, 3DS. I have the GameCube version with the Master Quest. I also have the GameCube Collector's Zelda Collector's Edition, which also has Ocarina of Time. And I think that's every version. I think that's every version of that game. I have it on the Wii U, I have it on the Wii as a downloadable game. Yeah, so with Ocarina of Time, a lot of people throw around 10 out of 10s and perfect scores, I think, way too often nowadays, especially in the last like 7 to 8 years. We're back around that time. A 10 meant this was like someone plucked this game from 10 years in the future, brought it here, and this will forever, change the landscape of almost all of gaming, which something like Ocarina of Time did. A game like Half-Life 2, for example. Those are 10s in the time. And nowadays, just 10s don't mean anything. Like, oh, it's very good. It's not perfect, but it's very good. But it's a 10. I'm like, we've diluted the perfect score in the gaming industry, sadly. That's why you'll probably never see a 10 out of 10 on my channel, because that literally means one of the best games of all time if I give a game a 10. Like, forever changing the landscape of all of gaming is what a 10 means to me. Yeah, and that's just lost nowadays. Yeah, I'm sorry if you really like Undertale or the game The Witness, but I would mark those as right around the time when Perfect 10 started to be misused, and we see the ramifications still now of those being tossed around way too much. It's not special anymore to see a 10 as much as it used to be. Like, just the idea back in the day in like high school, like Ocarina of Time got a 10 out of 10. That would be talked about for years, and when challenged by other games, you'd always bring that up, and it meant something back then when a game got a 10. Actually, I don't. If you're talking about there's like 7.5 to 10 scale. That's also, yeah, you're on the right track there. Kind of what I'm talking about. A lot of games media kind of adheres to the Americanized schooling system kind of scoring, which I don't do here at Boomstick Gaming, where a 7 is pretty much a meh. Where no, meh would be a 5. That would be a 5 out of 10 would be meh. I don't think you understand the concept of a mediocre game is a 5, where like most places a 7 is like, oh, a 7 is not that good. On my scale, 6 is okay, 7 is good, 8 is great, and then up from there. Where a 5 out of 10 should be a meh, or a it's whatever. Not the worst thing ever made, but it's just whatever. So yeah, if I give a game a 7 out of 10, then you should probably look into it, because it is a good game. Yeah, people forgot how to use numbers. But like I said, that's just from, the Americans growing up in the school systems that they do, where a 6 out of 10 or whatever would be like a D, and that's, a bad score. Or like a C, a 7 out of 10, where that's also not a great score. But when you're actually looking at a scale from 0 to 10, rather than an F through an A, you have to reconsider what you're doing. So yeah, Ocarina of Time, favorite Zelda game. Love that game. Next up we have Four Swords Adventures. Not to be confused with the first Four Swords game I talked about earlier on the Game Boy Advance. They're different games. Four Swords Adventure, decent co-op game, decent to good, with the huge flaw of that goofy Game Boy Advance link cable system they had back in the day. It was near impossible to find anybody with that. I think I only played the game properly maybe 3 times total in my life. I did beat it single player, but with the co-op with the link cables, I think that maybe only happened twice. I like all the levels except for that level that takes place in that town, where it's a lot of just going back and forth and finding the right person to talk to, and I hate that town level. I forget what it's called, but there's a long line of people like waiting to get in a store. Oh, I hate that level. Oh yeah, you think Portal is a 10 out of 10? Yeah, I mean, you're on the right track. That's Portal was something entirely different that was like plucking a game from the future and bringing it here. So I wouldn't necessarily give it a 10 out of 10, but I respect the opinion of a 10 out of 10. You're not wrong. I actually prefer Portal 2. Ooh, Rogue Squadron 2. I have that game. I have that game right behind me, I think. I almost took out my Zelda stuff here. Yeah, I have that. Rogue Squadron 2, that could definitely use a HD remaster. It's the best Star Wars game, I think. It's hard, too. If you go back to it, it's harder than you probably think. So we've almost gone around the entire map so far. We did have to skip some areas because we're doing it via motorcycle and we couldn't go everywhere, sadly. I don't have Rebel Strike, but I did back in the day. We could actually do with a Four Swords Adventure re-release on the Switch. They would just have to retool how the interface works. I think it could be done though. And it would be easy to just, you know, you have the 2 Joy-Cons already. Easy 2-player co-op. See, I don't have a whole lot to say about Four Swords Adventures. I liked it enough playing it single player, but yeah, I think it's too hard to enjoy multiplayer because of the Game Boy Advance. So we're gonna do a dual one here, and you'll know why. The 2 Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Age. There's too much wondering around of what to do next, where I think a good Zelda game, obviously it has you figuring things out, but it's not like you're banging your head against the wall. Like, who's that one little person I have to talk to advance the game, or that one little thing. That game's very gated like that, where it's hard to play without a guide nowadays, unless you already know the game. But yeah, I do need to go back and Probably retry those nowadays. I may enjoy them more now. Convoluted. I would say they're both a little convoluted. Definitely good though. And that convoluted stuff, is probably came from Capcom, who is, you know, not Nintendo, and there's a skill in making things streamlined and enjoyable. This is something I realized actually playing the game Left 4 Dead 2. Now let me get to my point here. So Left 4 Dead 2 opened up the ability to users to make their own maps, and even if you played some of the best maps of, you know, the user created ones, they would fall victim to too big, where it's like, oh man, this map is giant, has all these paths, and too elaborate to where you'd be like, okay, where do we go? Maybe you get you know, confused for a little bit, you start heading the wrong way, and there's this magic simplicity to the actual Left 4 Dead maps that were made by the developers, where you always know the exact way forward, you never get turned around, you almost go into autopilot because the game is so naturally feeding you around these areas, to where just making something big and elaborate does not necessarily mean it's better. Just because it's a larger, more, you know, nuanced map, that doesn't mean it's better. Like if the game Overwatch, for example, was opened up to community maps, people would very quickly realize how much those tiny little details to those maps mean so much to the overall, you know, moment-to-moment gameplay. It's something that you take for granted, but there is a very important skill to making things simple but fun. So yeah, back to Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. I believe that applies to that game as well, where Capcom's slight lack of, you know, working with the Zelda series there kind of shines through with threw too much stuff at it to where it was convoluted a little bit. Oh no, we're gonna fall all the way down. No. I think we're out of stamina stuff. I was not prepared. Do we have anything that does stamina? No. I forget what all this stuff does. Can you just eat? Oh yeah, you can probably just eat this stuff for stamina, right? No? Hmm. Yeah, Left 4 Dead 2 was awesome. While we're climbing here, let's switch games. So next up we have A Link to the Past on Super Nintendo. Now another game I didn't play back when it came out. I didn't have a Super Nintendo, which, man, I really missed out there, I am aware, but, you know, back then as a kid I didn't really have any say-so in that. So yeah, I missed out on the entirety of the Super Nintendo back then. Experienced Link to the Past over the years. I played about halfway through numerous times until just about 5 years ago I forced myself to get all the way through it and beat it. And I really liked it, but I still think it could be the nostalgia talking, but I still prefer Link's Awakening as my favorite 2D Zelda game. And yeah, I think some of the dungeons in A Link to the Past are borderlining on annoying sometimes in the later ones. They're not bad at all. Some of them just lean into that, like, alright, I'm about ready for this one to be over kind of things. So have we done the whole map? So we've done the whole map. We obviously missed tons of locations, but when we started here like 2 hours ago, we started right there. So we can actually go more towards this way, and we haven't done this part of the map, so we'll head over there. Yeah, I don't have any way to cook, so I can't make any stamina. Well, I could make some stamina stuff, but I don't really feel like stopping and cooking. I did not really prepare for this journey, I just kind of started doing it. Hey, we don't have any fuel. That's pretty cool. You can just free ride. Come on. It's as far as we can go. Guys, I just want to fuel up my motorcycle. Alright. Oh, come on. Oh, you didn't like the Super Nintendo? Only had a few good games? Even though I didn't have one, I would disagree on that. I think it has one of the best lineups of games. I guess it depends on what you're into. Some of the best JRPGs of all time and platformers are on that system. So yeah, Link to the Past. Next up we have Majora's Mask. Remember having to buy that expansion pack? So yeah, Majora's Mask. Obviously, I talked about Ocarina of Time already and how that kind of made me a hardcore gamer from then on out. So Majora's Mask was one of my most anticipated games like ever back then, and I actually got it for my birthday. I'm trying to think of how the story played out. I was over at my friend's house, and I had just gotten the game, and I was already like stuck on something. But I knew my friend. Actually, no, it was the day before my birthday. I knew my friend had got me the guide for Majora's Mask. I don't know if he told me or just said he was going to get it, but yeah, I couldn't figure out what to do in Majora's Mask, and I was over at his house playing it, and he didn't want to give me the gift until, you know, obviously it was my birthday the next day. So he would actually go run upstairs to his room, look on what to do next in the guide, and then run back down and tell me, and we would like proceed to go through Majora's Mask with him running upstairs and looking at the guide. You know, kids, I don't know. I don't know why he didn't just bring the guide down. He didn't want to ruin the birthday gift. But yeah, Majora's Mask was revolutionary in terms of its, you know, its ideas with its time mechanic back then. I have gone back to it with the 3D version, the 3DS version, and still really liked it. I don't think it held up quite as much as I thought it would in my memory. I could kind of, the time mechanic, you know, obviously seems less unique now, and I actually wish I just had more time to sit back and enjoy the game. I really don't like time limits, but back in the day it was so novel, I didn't mind it and I actually thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, definitely would prefer going back to Ocarina of Time over Majora's Mask any day. I like the pace of Ocarina better. Majora definitely had more unique ideas going for it, however. agree. The world itself is amazing in that game. Like maybe one of the best video game worlds. Definitely in the top 10, I would say. They definitely pulled that aspect off very well. I kind of wish the masks did a little bit more in that game. Many of the masks were just like... just little ways to advance little side quests. I like the ones that had actually utility to them, but many of them didn't have any utility. So yeah, we have 2 more games to give away. We'll go ahead and do the next one here for the game Behind the Screen on PC here shortly. Just in a minute or two. Where's it at? Yeah, Behind the Screen. It's a PC game on Steam. It has very positive reviews. It's kind of unassuming. It's cooler if you go look at it than maybe what it looks here. Very unique looking game. It's kind of one of those genre bending games. Switches up how you play it from time to time quite often. But yeah, we'll be giving that away here in just a minute. And then after that, the final game we'll give away after that is going to be the game CHASM on Xbox One. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that trivia question now for the game Behind the Screen on PC. So the rules here, all you have to do is answer my Zelda trivia question here first, and primarily I can get in touch with you with the code. So if you do win, go ahead and post your Twitter tag in the chat here. I will screenshot it, and that's the best way for me to relay this code to you. But yeah, it pretty much comes down to whoever answers this first. So here we go for the game Behind the Screen on PC. First to answer wins. In The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, 24 golden bugs can be collected throughout the game world and donated to the local insect expert Agatha. What does she reward you with after turning in all 24 golden bugs? Again, after turning in all 24 golden bugs in The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess to Agatha, what does she reward you with? Don't I have any ecchi games to give away? What are those? Golden Korok poop. I like that answer, but no. A golden purse? Close, but no. You have to be more specific than that. You guys are on the right track. You're so close. Again, very specific name of the item. Well, you guys are probably Googling that at the moment. Next game we have here. Hey, look at that timing. That was random. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. This is the HD version. I also have the GameCube and the Wii version. Twilight Princess, I played first on the Wii, and really loved that game back then. After going back and playing the GameCube version, I think the GameCube version is the superior way to play it. And to be more precise, the HD version now is obviously the best way to play that game. Some people don't like Twilight Princess. I really like it. It's probably in my top 5. It's probably maybe 5 or 6. Sixth favorite Zelda game. Some of the best dungeons, some of the best uses of items in dungeons of the entire franchise. Yeah, the overworld's not great, but the dungeons themselves, I think it has the best Zelda dungeons. Yeah, probably of all of them. Maybe only rivaled by Ocarina of Time. So still nobody has gotten the exact answer. What do you get for turning in all 24 golden bugs to Agatha in The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess? It's a very specific reward you get. Yeah, the wolf sequences were cool. What about those parts where you'd find those like those golden wolves or whatever they were, and you'd learn the new moves from essentially a past version of Link? That like skeleton guy is like Link from a different era or something. So you're pretty much like teaching yourself those moves, which is a pretty cool little detail. Yeah, we still haven't had anybody get the trivia question yet. Oh, giant wallet. That was the answer I was looking for. So you are the winner. Go ahead and put your Twitter handle in the chat here, and I will contact you later. I was getting worried there if anybody was going to get it. Yes, for turning all 24 bugs to Agatha, you get the giant wallet. Another thing about Twilight Princess, I think Midna is probably one of the strongest characters, side characters in all of Zelda games. Really good character. Cool how she like lives in your shadow. This really cool arc. The ending with her is awesome. Her voice is kind of annoying, but other than that, very good character in that game. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Twilight Princess. I will admit, when I went back with the HD version, it hasn't aged perfectly. It was just like a smidgen not as good as I had in my brain, but still it was very, very good. Like after playing Wind Waker HD and then that, I'm like, oh, like Wind Waker is vastly superior, I think. A tingle better than Midna. To each their own. Oh no, our last arrow we're gonna miss. Put it away. You don't have a Twitter. Trying to think another way to get it to you. Just shoot me an email. My email you can find in the About section of my channel. It's boomstickgamingchannel@gmail.com. Just shoot me an email over there with who you are. I'll send you that game. Or just go create a Twitter account real quick and follow me on there and let me know. You don't like the dungeons in Wind Waker? Yeah, I wouldn't say it has the best dungeons, but just like Breath of the Wild itself, I consider the world itself in Wind Waker to be one giant dungeon, just like Breath of the Wild, where I think it makes up for the somewhat lacking like shrines and divine beasts in this game, where the world itself is just the most epic, huge dungeon with, you know, micro puzzles everywhere. That's how I feel about Wind Waker as well. Yeah, I do have a Boomstick Gaming Discord, but it's invite only right now until I figure out a better way to moderate it. Actually, yeah, I could, if you have a Discord, link me your Discord on here, put that in chat, and I can use that as well. What game we were talking about? Twilight Princess and Wind Waker there. I've been going through every Zelda game. We're talking about Twilight Princess right now. But yeah, the game I'm actually playing is Breath of the Wild. We're just touring the map. As I talk about the Zelda series, we have some giveaways. Now we're out of fuel. See how long we can coast. Oh, I could just give that to somebody else. Yeah, you can win multiple games. Technically, anybody can win all four, but hasn't played out like that. No, this game's not getting any more DLC. They just announced they're hiring up for a new Zelda project, which is probably going to be not similar to Majora's Mask in a gameplay sense, but in a production sense, where they're probably going to use this Breath of the Wild template / engine and kind of throw something together in the next three years. Because this engine is very good. There's no need to change the engine yet. Yeah, so I guess if he doesn't want the game, let's just open it up to anybody. The first Twitter handle I see will get behind the screen. Go. And then the next game we're going to be giving away is CHASM in about 30 to 40 minutes, and that'll probably be the end of the stream. Yeah, so while you're all posting that, if you want the game, I'm going to take a quick 1-minute break. Be right back. And I'm back. Alright, so I see the silent one as the first one, so you're gonna get behind the screen on PC. I'll contact you in a bit. And I have one more game to give away here in about 30 to 40 minutes. And we're winding down on me talking about every Zelda game. What's next? We have Phantom Hourglass. Sorry if it looks like I'm flicking you off a little bit there. I'm not really. Phantom Hourglass, I kind of touched on that when I was talking about Spirit Tracks. I'm not a huge fan of the touch controls in it, and I think the dungeon design is maybe the worst of every single Zelda game. So yeah, definitely not a fan of Phantom Hourglass. Sadly, I don't have much more to say than that. That's just one of those take it or leave it kind of Zelda games where I could easily have done without that existing. I'm sorry if you like Phantom Hourglass. I really don't have much to say on it. Didn't really like it, sadly. Wow, second favorite Zelda? Did you grow up with it? Was that like one of your first ones you played? Yeah, man, I already gave away that Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption game, but yeah, definitely check it out. It's pretty cheap. It's a pretty short game, though. It's about 2.5 to 4 hours, depending on your skill level, but I do have a full playthrough of it on my channel, where I full playthrough the game and then actually reviewed it at the end. So it's a Let's Play plus review all in one video, so you can go seek that out. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it was just the touch controls and I didn't like the dungeons or the touch controls. So there are probably elements of that I'm missing. Like the standout features. It was just so ruined by the core gameplay itself for me. There's actually a pretty good video I watched not too long ago from Game Explain, where they pitted Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks against each other, and he makes some really good points on why Spirit Tracks improved like nearly every aspect in terms of like puzzle design and implementing certain features. So that's a good video. What touch controls? The stylus. The stylus controls. Those are touch controls. That's what we used to call touch controls before, you know, phones with finger screens. Stuff didn't really have too much finger input back then. A lot of things used stylus. So that used to be what we called touch. So yeah, I don't have much to say about Phantom Hourglass. Sorry about that one. Next up we have A Link Between Worlds on 3DS. Man, so I love A Link Between Worlds. my second favorite Zelda game of all time after Link's Awakening. I also think it is better than the first Link to the Past. Oh, we just had like a little micro freeze. We're going too fast for the game. Yeah, the merging onto the walls mechanic I think is maybe the best quote-unquote like gimmick of any Zelda game. I would love to see that return in a sequel. That they just used it in such genius ways. It's kind of what I was talking about before by the Capcom produced Zelda games being Minish Cap and the Ages Seasons games. You know, compare how genius that use of that merge mechanic was used by like the masters of the craft, and compared it to like Capcom trying their best to kind of make those kind of interesting puzzles. It's just a stark comparison between the two. Or yeah, I think the wall merge mechanic, they just nailed it with those micro puzzles and how to use that. It was so seamless and smartly done. The dungeons themselves, they utilize that feature quite well. They're kind of on the short side. I really like A Link Between Worlds. I actually didn't really mind the shop system, the renting the items as much as I thought I would. I didn't mind it. I thought I would going into it, but yeah, it didn't bother me at all, danger. I played Phantom Hourglass, I think later in the year it was released. And no, I did not beat it because I did not enjoy it. I'm a super picky gameplay guy. Gameplay is king for me, and just that kind of the stylus input for moving a character is just instantly off-putting to me, so no, I did not beat it. I also went back to it about 2 years ago, and again played about, you know, a few dungeons in, and I just do not like the core gameplay. I can't talk on the quality of the actual puzzles or the story or the world really. It's just like many mobile games. It's like the first 5 seconds you lose me at the gameplay, sorry. Because I'm a gameplay guy. I just don't like the gameplay with the stylus. Now if those games controlled like say A Link Between Worlds, like actually that'd be awesome if they remade the Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks in the Link Between Worlds engine. I'd actually be really down for that. And with traditional controls. What's your favorite Zelda? Ocarina of Time, followed by Breath of the Wild. We've kind of been going through them, and I've kind of pretty much given my top 5 at this point. So I would say, yeah, Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild. It jumps back and forth between the Wind Waker and Link's Awakening. And then probably 5th would be either Twilight Princess or Link Between Worlds. So it's kind of a wishy-washy top 5, but yeah. There's a guy in Seattle when I used to live there who always drank. Yeah, Breath of the Wild is definitely either my favorite game of the last decade or tied with Bloodborne. Those are my two favorite modern games. But I can't put them behind, or I can't put them in front of Ocarina of Time. Alright, so our last one here, and we've covered every single Zelda game. And it's not really... It's already a game we covered. It's just a collection. But there is an aspect to it that is different. We have here the 2-game bonus disc that has the Ocarina of Time plus the Master Quest on GameCube. So yeah, the Master Quest is the last kind of quote-unquote game we can talk about here. It's kind of weird because there's not really any other Zelda that had that feature other than the very first Zelda that I'm aware of, where it kind of had an alternate switched up mode. Is there anything? Yeah, the first Legend of Zelda had that, and then the Master's Quest. I can't think of anything else where it rearranges the game itself. And also mirrors the world. Man, I hate it mirroring the world. That just confuses my brain more than anything on locations that I've known for like decades now. But everything else about it's pretty cool. Although it's more challenging, I think some of the new dungeon design in it kind of suffers from the element I talked upon earlier, where just maybe more elaborate is not always better. There's a elegance in making something this certain amount of enjoyable but streamlined and simplistic, where not everything is pretty much what I'm saying. It got a little convoluted in some of the dungeon elements that they added in the Master Quest, like kind of artificial difficulty territory. But still, it's a really cool way to challenge yourself in Ocarina of Time. I'm starting to lose my voice with all this Zelda talk. Didn't they have one of those with Majora's Mask? It might be what I showed off earlier, the GameCube collection where it had Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Zelda 1 and 2, and the Wind Waker demo, because I do have that, which I showed off earlier. You want to see some GTA Bike and Breath of the Wild style video? That would be cool. So pretty much the first thing I made on my channel back in 2006 was called GTA Bikin', where it was pretty much San Andreas, and it was trick videos with the bike system. I made like 5 or 6. That's how I started on YouTube, making GTA Bikin' videos. So that's what Danger's referencing there. He's going way back to 2006, 2007 era YouTube. I think some of them might still be up on my channel. I think I had to take some down because back then I just threw whatever licensed music in there. And I think I unlisted them. Some of them might still be there, I'm not sure. Got any good 3DS games I should get? I mean, my first recommendation, if you haven't played it, would be A Link Between Worlds. My second recommendation would be Super Mario 3D Land. That's one of my... It might be my 5th favorite Mario game. That's a really good Mario game. And one really cool thing about Mario Land on 3DS... Is that what it's called? Super Mario 3D Land. That's what it's called. Pretty much it's an entire awesome Mario campaign, and then when you beat it, you unlock another Mario campaign. That was one of my favorite moments in modern gaming, where so many games now underdeliver to beat that game and be like, oh, that just unlocked a whole other game. I love that kind of stuff. That's the kind of practices we need to see more in gaming nowadays. Too many things are under-delivering, overpricing. Generosity in gaming is good quality. Yeah, having more so content than you're expecting is like one of my favorite little like dopamine rushes. I don't know why. I just love that. It's like, oh, I got so much game for my 60 bucks. That's kind of how I think about Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild could have easily been $100 and it would have been very worth it in my opinion. Just got both of those games. Okay. The Animal Crossing game on 3DS is very good as well. Trying to think of some other 3DS games I really like. If you're into JRPGs, there's quite a few good ones. Neither of these are amazing, but they're definitely good. The Bravely Default games are pretty good. There's also a remake of Radiant Historia, which is kind of like a Chrono Trigger-esque JRPG. Oh yeah, thanks Danger. There's a GTA biking. Which one is that? Are all 5 or 6 of them still up on my channel? Because yeah, those are littered with licensed music that, you know, got flagged and everything back in the day. But yeah, luckily some point halfway through my YouTubing, they kind of wiped the slate clean with all those copyright strikes and stuff. Because back then everyone would just throw licensed music into every video. It's a lot easier nowadays. They're less strict with that stuff, and also there's tons of free music that you can get from YouTube itself and put in your videos. And a lot of recent video game music, I haven't been getting any strikes on any modern video game music, luckily. There was a point where like you pretty much uploaded a video with music, you're gonna get it flagged. Oh yeah, the Monster Hunter games on 3DS. I mean, if you have a Switch, I'd recommend getting Generations Ultimate on there rather than 3DS version, but if you want to play Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, that's a good and only place to play that. Some people prefer that over Generations. See, me stretching the limits was I talked about crossbow training. I don't count the CDI ones, those weren't on a Nintendo system. We'll probably do that giveaway for CHASM here on Xbox One here in probably the next 10 to 15 minutes, and then probably wrap up the stream. So if anybody has any last lingering Zelda questions or anything, this would be the time to get them in. Did I mention Soul Calibur 2? No, I've definitely played tons of Soul Calibur 2 though. That was pretty awesome how I had Link in the GameCube version. Definitely had some good Soul Calibur 2 matches. One of my friends would always notoriously pick Ivy, and we always found her quite cheap because she was very easy to button mash and win. But he would still always use her. We'd all like complain about it. Hey John, what's up? Hyrule Warriors. Yeah, I'm not counting that game either. That's a. I mean, to be honest, I had that in my collection, but I disliked it so much I actually traded it in. And I don't count that as a Zelda game. That's a Dynasty Warriors game through and through. Even crossbow training feels more like a proper Zelda spin-off than that, because that's like Hyrule Warriors is just, it's a whole different thing with Zelda skins on it. CHASM was awesome until that one level. I don't remember having a real bad time with specifically one level. My only hard time was that one stupid gated puzzle where you have to put in that exact number. That's the only part I didn't like. That's where I got stuck. Hey, Play Alpha, what's up? Happy older day, cheers! Thanks, Aaron, appreciate that, man. I'm the same age as the Legend of Zelda franchise. It's been growing up with me. It is a few months older than me, though. And this is the first time playing Breath of the Wild on my 144 Hz monitor, and that was vastly easier to parry than on my 4K TV. And I haven't played this game forever until now. No, Link can't grow a beard. We are due for another Twilight Princess again, like a gritty Zelda. So maybe the next one he'll have a beard. I'm thinking the next one is going to look a lot like this. It's obviously probably going to be the same engine. It's going to look like a lot of like Breath of the Wild, but darker in tone. Kind of similar to the castle up there. If you've been in that region, I bet more of the next game will look a little darker overall, a little grimier of a game, kind of like Twilight Princess was. I don't think it's going to really go more cartoony from here. I know I'm playing this on the Switch, so it's at 30 FPS, but just even 30 FPS on 144 Hertz with a better response time feels drastically better than my 4K TV in terms of input. Hey, thanks, Myra. That would be something cool to try, the Link to the Past randomizer. I would like to do one for maybe Link's Awakening. Do they have a randomizer for Link's Awakening? Because I'm not the hugest fan of A Link to the Past. Yeah, it's kind of, just better response time. But also, I mean, obviously I'm not benefiting from the 144 Hertz at 30 frames a second, but just overall everything feels more fluid on this. I actually recently just hooked up my Switch dock to my monitor, so I can play Smash Ultimate there. Because that's the kind of game where you can feel the difference a lot more between a monitor and a TV. Oh, there is a Link's Awakening, but it's in the beta. I might try that out. I always wanted to try out the Dark Souls randomizer. There was an aspect about it that was weird, and I'm trying to remember. I like almost tried the Dark Souls randomizer where there's some weird element to setting it up or something. I can't remember now. Nope. Yeah, we gotta get out of here. I think I remember now. When I went to go try the Dark Souls randomizer, I think it was still in beta, to where everything was randomized, even special keys and stuff you would need to actually progress. And I think that's been patched now, where those things, don't hinder your progression. So I should probably look into that too. Leave me alone. We're just trying to motorcycle here. It's one way to get through a window. Hey Edgar. What's a randomizer? It pretty much moves around usually important items in the game, or sometimes dungeons. In the case of like Dark Souls, for example, it's the items and the weapons. So you may get some weird like late game items in like a beginning chest, for example, which kind of throws off the whole progression of the game, but in an interesting way. Helps you somewhat re-experience a game that you know by heart. Yeah, so we're going to be doing that giveaway for CHASM on Xbox One here in probably 15 minutes, and then we'll probably end the stream. Because we have gone through every single Zelda game talking about it. Starting to lose my voice a little bit after talking about all that Zelda nonsense. Is that a chest we haven't gotten yet? Feathered spear. I don't think I've ever gotten that. I don't think I've ever seen that. After like thinking I did everything in this game, I'm still finding new weapons. Yeah, because I've done every single shrine and all the DLC content, but yeah, still finding stuff, as we can see. Yeah, I really want to cover Smash Ultimate for sure. Definitely gonna do some content on it. I'm a little torn though because my only way I can console, starting to stumble on my words because I can't talk. My capture card is only 30 FPS, and that's not going to produce the best quality like Smash Brothers content. So that's why I'm hesitant a little bit, but I still want to do it. I just wish it could. I just wish I had that better capture card to record in 60 FPS on console games. But that'll definitely be one of the first things I purchase when I'm a little more financially secure with some things. Because I would love to do like some kind of showcase on attacks or combos or something, but You can only do so well in 30 frames a second in a fighting game like that. You'd obviously want to be able to slow down the footage and have it still look nice, and you can't do that in 30 frames a second. Who's everybody maining? It's too hard to say who I'm maining, but one of the people I'm going to try first is probably Simon Belmont. I don't think I'm going to probably main him, but I definitely want to try him. He looks a little slower than I would usually like. Well, of course, my main in Smash 4 was Rob, so he's not quick either, but there's some old videos on my channel you can go find of my Smash 4 Rob gameplay. Also, I really like Mario in that, I just didn't like the FLUDD. I'm hoping in Smash Ultimate Dr. Mario is actually viable, because I would love to play, you know, Mario minus the FLUDD. And I was hoping those would explode when my bow broke. I wonder. Stream's winding down. I'm starting to lose my voice and stammer, so that's usually a pretty good indication. I'm good on hearts. I have that that thing that revives me. Here. Oh. There you see. Full health. Whoa. That was goofy. Yeah, so I think that was pretty successful. We pretty much showed off the majority of the entire map in Breath of the Wild in this one sitting, and I talked history on every single Zelda game. I think it turned out pretty good. Hey, thanks, Hunter. Appreciate all that. Have a good one, man. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do this last trivia question for the game CHASM. So in order to win, all you're going to have to do, you're going to have to be the first person to answer my trivia question that I'm about to read out here, and also follow me on Twitter, and that's how I'm going to distribute the code if you win. And I'll follow you back and send you the code. Yeah, this is CHASM on Xbox One, so please don't play if you can't actually play the game. But if you do win, go ahead and put your Twitter handle in the chat here. I will screenshot it, and that is my best means to get back with you after the stream. Alright, so first to answer this is going to win CHASM. Everybody ready? We don't get attacked by bats. Oh. Alright, here we go. In The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, Link can upgrade the Master Sword a couple of times by providing the local blacksmiths with this rare collectible. read it again. In The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, Link can upgrade the Master Sword a couple of times by providing local blacksmiths with this rare collectible. First person to answer gets CHASM on Xbox One. This will be a great time if anybody has any lingering questions to ask me before I wrap up the stream here. Master Ore. That is it. You are the proud new owner of CHASM, which actually comes out tomorrow. I can't actually give you that key until tomorrow, but I will be contacting you tomorrow. Go ahead and put your Twitter handle in the chat here, and I'll contact you with that code tomorrow. The motorcycle reminds me of Darksiders 2 horse gameplay. Yeah, kinda, because the Darksiders 2 horse doesn't really feel much like a horse. It's too speedy and precise, so I could see that comparison. Any thoughts on Fallout 76? I guess this is my best way to put it. Myself and my wife bought it. We played roughly 2 hours of the beta, and we refunded it. So that's my critique. Thought it was very bad for a full price $60 game, to where we now have our money back. Maybe I'll try it again here in half a year or so. That's my official review right now. Has been refunded. Please don't buy that at $60. And we were playing on PC. Definitely a whole nother issue with the console versions, just are barely functioning frame rate wise. Aaron, do I already have your Twitter handle? Did you win before? I forget. Otherwise, just post it again if you could. Oh, you did. I missed it. Yeah, I'll get in touch with you tomorrow, because I got that code for CHASM a little early. If you want some more Fallout, backstory to see if my opinion really matters, Fallout 3 I think is probably one of the better Western RPGs ever made. Fallout 4 was a step back. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. Have not played the older Fallout games, but Fallout 3 is definitely the high mark of the series for me. And Fallout 76 was, not only did it run poorly and it had tons of bugs, but it also was just kind of flat out just boring. And also it's trying to be a survival game, and within the first 2 hours, we both had just so many guns and so many weapons and so many just things, to where, like in an actual survival game, you never want to feel overburdened with things where, like, I would literally just dump stuff. Like two pipe shotguns, like I just have too many pipe shotguns right now. I'm just gonna literally throw them on the ground. So that's one easy way to completely neuter any kind of survival type experience. Bombarded with things. Did not feel like I was surviving at all. I felt like I was overstocked, and that's just within the first 2 hours. Like when I played, none of the water was rendered. I couldn't see water I would just walk through it and I'd be getting radiation. It was just not rendered in my game. Tons of bugs and weird stuff like that. The controls on PC are poor if you're using mouse and keyboard. They're definitely structured for a console game. Really bad interface and overall controls. But yeah, I'm the same age as the Legend of Zelda franchise, so 32. It's been growing up along with me. Alright, Stepwise, see you, man. Hey, Aaron, what's up? Yeah, Bethesda does need a new game engine. They're obviously making one for Elder Scrolls 6. Which, when you actually think about Elder Scrolls 6, you can kind of understand why Fallout 76 is in the state that it is. Because they very, very clearly have a team and a B team, and clearly the B team is working on Fallout 76. While the like master craftsmen are tooling away at Elder Scrolls 6. So it's kind of understandable. Not acceptable, but understandable, the state of Fallout 76 right now. So yeah, we've talked every Zelda game. I've done all my giveaways. Probably going to wrap this up in the next 5 minutes if you guys have any lingering questions. I guess I could talk about what's coming up on the channel. Next week, I think it's Wednesday and Thursday. I have a sponsored stream from Capcom and one other company that I can't disclose right now, but I'm doing a Monster Hunter stream, 2 days. And it's going to be a starter guide playing the PC version of the game and kind of explaining how to play and also just every single tip I know about the game. Because I've done tons of tips videos, and this will just be kind of every single detail I know, every little tip I'm going to be telling over that. Probably do a 2-hour stream on Wednesday and then a 2-hour stream on Thursday. Oh man, I'm losing my voice. But yeah, that's coming up on the channel. That is a sponsored stream, but if you know me, you know I love Monster Hunter and Monster Hunter World already, so you already know that I'm not going to be, you know, feigning interest. But yeah, that's what's coming up next week. I haven't streamed a Monster Hunter game yet for how much I have Monster Hunter on my channel. And also, I don't have much experience with the PC version, so I'm excited to kind of start fresh because I've done, you know, hundreds and hundreds of hours on the PS4 version. So it's going to be cool kind of going through it and teaching people maybe new coming into the game how to play. Oh, you just turned 32 last month too? Yeah. It's pretty cool, us people growing up with Zelda, same age. My favorite Zelda game is Ocarina of Time, followed by Breath of the Wild, followed by... It flops back and forth between Wind Waker and Link's Awakening. And then the 5th place spot is either between Twilight Princess or Link Between Worlds. Yeah, I talked about Ocarina of Time earlier, how that really marked the point when I went from just playing video games to counting myself as like a gamer. Is Ocarina of Time, because before I was just playing games on the NES and just as a kid, and I didn't know what I was doing, hardly ever beat games, if any, and Ocarina of Time really marked when I became a hardcore gamer. Yeah, thanks everybody who joined in here. It was pretty fun. I had nothing better going on during at least the afternoon times of my birthday here, but I'm going to be doing some stuff in real life here tonight. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of celebrate one of my favorite franchises here, give some games out. You see how I turned that around on you, turned my birthday into giving you stuff. It's what I felt like doing today. Yeah, hopefully whoever tuned in during this now going on pretty long stream, it was fun talking every Zelda game. Man, you guys didn't tell me I still had the CHASM. They tell me I still had the CHASM thing up. Whoops. Yeah, I guess we're pretty much in Q&A territory now anyways, more than playing. You always go back and forth between the Wind Waker and Link to the Past. Yeah, those are both good as well. I love the HD version of Wind Waker. Yeah, I think around the ages of your late 20s to like turning 30, it may bum people out, some people out around that time. You may be starting to feel the inklings of getting old, but I'm 32 now and I've completely gotten past that. It's just I don't even whatever. But yeah, your late 20s, you start to feel that for a little bit. That'll probably happen again around late 40s to 50, I'm guessing, but completely lost interest in whatever my age is. Again, you know what, like how when you're a kid or whatever, you don't care. Did I have a good Halloween? Yeah, I streamed Bloodborne on Halloween, which I thought was pretty fitting. I watched. I had never seen the original Psycho, and we watched Psycho. That is a very good film. I feel stupid for not having watched that till recently. I think the most impactful moments aged the worst. You know, all the stabbing parts and the kind of the climaxes of the movie, I think have aged the worst. But every single other aspect of that movie, I think, is like immaculate. So actually, the parts that were probably the best back in the day, you know, like the shower stabbing, I actually felt were kind of aged poorly now. But all the in between the dialogue and the set design and the shots and just moment to moment dialogue was really good in that. So yeah, that's what I did on Halloween. Yeah, so I'm starting to lose focus here, guys. So yeah, last questions here. Gonna give it 2 more minutes, and I'm gonna wrap it up. Go take a break. Oh, where's the motorcycle? Yeah, we're kind of zoned out post motorcycle. We did the whole map, and now I'm just wrapping it up. I'm trying to mostly just answer you guys right now more than play the game. We can get all these rocks off of here. Yeah, the shower scene in Psycho, I don't know, they did the cuts weird with the stabbing. It was too clearly like stabbing forward and like not hitting a thing and coming back, or they just, because they had, you know, horror zombie movies were, you know, out by then. They knew how to do like gore and you know, shots like that where I think he messed up some of the cuts. It's easy to say nowadays, but it should have cut sooner with the stabs to make them look more believable, because nowadays it looks like someone just waving that knife in the air because they linger for, you know, that quarter of a second too long to where it actually go forward and you don't stab anything and you're coming back again and then it cuts. It should cut right when the stab happens, and that, you know, we fill in the blanks. But when you actually see the blade not hitting anything, that's when it breaks the immersion. These rocks just came back. Yeah, thanks, Urban. Favorite color? I mean, it's a non-color. It's a stupid guy answer, but black. I think that's not a color. Because I don't have an actual color favorite. You kind of... I only like combinations of colors. Just one singular color on its own does nothing for me. But how multiple colors play against each other. Like for example, in this coat right, or this cape, I like that gold and that whatever other color that is. That's a nice combo, but I wouldn't say I like those individual colors by themselves. Have you tried going straight to the castle to beat the game from the beginning? No, I haven't actually tried that. I've seen someone do it, like speedrun it. Looks pretty hard how you have to fight the bosses from the Divine Beast all in one gigantic fight. Yeah, I have Red Dead Redemption 2. I have a live stream of it and also a video on how you can improve the aiming and the controls in the game if you're struggling with that. Red Dead's definitely good. I'm not quite enjoying it quite as much as I thought, but it's definitely good. It's not the perfect masterpiece that some people might tell you it is. Definitely a good game, though. So yeah, thanks everybody. This has been my special Zelda stream. We toured the entire map of Breath of the Wild on motorcycle. Questions as I could. Think it turned out pretty well. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my birthday, maybe go get a nice meal, and probably play some games. And yeah, this has been Deadeye, and thanks for watching.